Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of the Icarus Report, rounding up the last week or so in interesting gaming news. Top of the list for me this week is that Metal Gear Solid 5 Definitive X has been listed on Amazon, and I can only imagine that the X in that stands for experience, because I can't really think of many other words starting with EX that would really fit smoothly into that title, but that's not the main point here. The main point is how far are Konami willing to go with a definitive experience of Metal Gear Solid 5. For me, being as cynical as I am these days, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be a compilation of Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain, and maybe some of the multiplayer DLC that's been released in the meantime for Metal Gear Online. So that'll be some of the maps, some of the game modes, but I'm pretty sure they're going to keep the costumes to themselves. If you want those, if you want that extra stuff, you're going to have to pony up the extra cash for it. So it's not really definitive, is it, Konami? If you're going to go that route, because definitive implies that there's nothing beyond that point that you need add or buy or purchase. It implies everything brought together into one unified, definitive experience. But if it really was worthy of being called that, then we'd have, I don't know, Chapter 3, even though I know we will never, ever in a million years get to experience that. But as a minimum, as an olive branch between the fans and your chicken shit company, you could at the very least include a completed Mission 51. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Mission 51 is a bit of a sore point for people that were actually invested in the story of the Phantom Pain, because it resolved a lot of dangling plot threads. It's just a shame that this mission wasn't actually included in the frigging game. It was apparently cut due to time constraints, and I would have thought, well, just delay the frigging game. I'd rather have a complete game than one that chops off a crucial bit of plot at the end of it. But anyway, this was supposed to wrap up stuff related to a deadly parasite that can kill people that speak a specific language. It also resolved a plot thread that included a very angry asshole child that's actually a clone of the main character, of Big Boss in fact, flying off with his weird little psychic friend with a giant robot to an island in bumfuck nowhere to start his own little Lord of the Flies revival. And the game completely drops this. It doesn't resolve this during the course of your playthrough, and you'd only really know that this was resolved if you had, I think, the special edition of Metal Gear Solid 5 on the PlayStation 4. It came with a bonus disc that included this cut mission and showed you what would have happened if it would have been included, which stung even more for some reason. So yeah, that was left out, and I just feel like it was something that they could easily, complete in the time since the release of Metal Gear Solid 5 and the release of this, the definitive edition. Well, it would have been doable if Konami hadn't pretty much fucking fired everyone. So yeah, I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting any extras. I've made my peace with what Metal Gear Solid 5 is, and you know how I'm enjoying it from this point onwards? I'm modding the crap out of it. There's a wonderful, wonderful mod available called Infinite Heaven that greatly enhances stuff like the core gameplay, makes it a bit more interesting between the outposts, for example, in Afghanistan. It won't do much to fix how the game ends. It won't really wrap up any of those frustrating, dangling plot threads, but at the very least it will add a bit more gameplay for you to experience. But yeah, hopefully this means we can move on with all of this. We can leave Metal Gear Solid 5 where it is, regard it as a definitive experience, and get the conspiracy tinfoil hats on for the inevitable Metal Gear Solid 6, or whatever Konami's gonna call it, because this is a cash cow that they can't afford to ignore. It's one of the biggest names in their arsenal, and if they just leave it languishing, then they're even bigger idiots than I could have ever imagined. In other news, Batman the Telltale series has recently released on Steam, and oh boy is it borked. It crashes frequently, it's poorly optimized, barely running above 10 frames per second for certain people, resolution issues, out of sync dialogue. It's a clear-cut case of a game that's been taken out of the oven far too early. And another great example of no matter how great a track record a developer may have, this is why you never, ever, ever, ever pre-order a game. You wait till it releases, you see if there's any issues, then you give them your money. There is no reason to pre-order ever, but honestly, I do find it curious that the game has been released in this state for the PC, and the only thing I can come up with is maybe it was publisher pressure, because Warner Brothers, Batman is the golden goose for them, and I don't know if you've noticed recently, but they've had a lot of Batman exposure. We had Batman vs. Superman, which recently had a definitive edition released on DVD, or Extreme Edition, whatever they want to call it these days, I don't give a toss. We've also had Batman the Killing Joke, which was an animated movie, which a lot of people were quite excited for. And here, at the end of the week, I believe, in the UK, Suicide Squad releases, which also features a scene or two with Batman. So they're hoping for a big old thunderclap, I imagine, with the Batman property, and that is probably why this game was released a little too prematurely, but now people are regretting their pre-orders and they are flooding the Steam reviews with the negative reviews. It's reading mixed at the moment, but I'm seeing down thumbs down even, down thumbs, what am I even talking about? Thumbs down in an order of magnitude greater than thumbs up, so I'd list the reaction as very, very negative right now. So I'd say if you're interested in Batman the Telltale series, I'd hold off until they fix a lot of this crap, yeah. But what else have we got here? Ah yes, SEGA, not to be outdone by Nintendo announcing the Mini NES. They've also announced their own Mini Mega Drive and Mini Portable Mega Drive releases this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Mini Mega Drive console was already a thing. I'm not sure if it was a pre-existing officially licensed thing, but it sure as hell is now. I've definitely seen them kicking around in various game shops before, but I can't be sure whether those versions included the ability to plug in your pre-existing Mega Drive cartridges into the device. That is very much what you can do with this new release. You can't do it with the portable Mini Mega Drive, but that does include a SD card slot, which is very interesting, allowing you to load up whatever you want onto that Mega Drive device. They naturally come preloaded with all sorts of cool classic games, your Sonic the Hedgehogs, your Golden Axes, what have you. And yeah, they're definitely trying to steal a little bit of thunder from Nintendo here. As far as I can tell, as far as I can remember, again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mini NES does not feature the ability to plug in your pre-existing Nintendo cartridges, which is a little bit sucky, to be perfectly honest, because I've got a lot of interesting non-typical NES games kicking around that I would more than love to plug into a fresh device that's a little bit more up-to-date. But apparently no. If you want that kind of action, Sega is the place to go. But it's going to be very interesting come the end of the year, come Christmas time, and see which one of those performs the best. It's going to be like a mini console war. Oh, you remember the console wars? It's coming back, baby. The past is coming back with style. So with that out of the way, that leaves only one more thing. You know what time it is. It is time for Pokemon Go Madness. Get those air horns, oh boy. So, what have we got? So, this week, Niantic, which is the developer behind Pokemon Go, has apparently incurred the ire of millions by removing tracking, removing the ability to actually, find out how close a Pokemon is that you want to catch, and they've also done goofed by increasing the refresh rate of the scanner up to once every 10 seconds, which means if you're traveling fast enough, say if you do this on a bike going at a relative clip, or if you're on a bus, or in a slow-moving car, you're not really going to be able to pick up any Pokemon because you're going to be moving too fast for the scanner to actually register any Pokemon popping up even around you, which I feel damages the appeal of the game somewhat. There seems to be reports of Niantic also removing a lot of Pokestops from certain areas, moving gyms around, and generally pissing a lot of people off. And in kind of relation to that, it reminds me of another story I read about Pokemon Go, where this lady quit her job to become a full-time Pokemon Go hunter. And you know what her reasoning for this was? She'd go around all day, she'd capture all of the Pokemon, get them all the evolutions, whatever, and then she'd sell the account for big money, because, as you know, there's tons of impressionable douchebags and idiots around the world that would gladly spend a ridiculous sum of money to get a Pokemon Go account featuring all of the things and not having to do any of the work. And to that I say, why are you even fucking playing? That's not... You're not playing the game. You just die, just walk off a cliff. A few other people nearly already did that anyway. But it's just these kind of changes are making the game a lot less attractive to a lot of people, and I can only imagine this woman really regretting her life choices after this point by thinking, I really should have, kept with that stable, decent paying job other than taking a massive gamble on this fad video game. And it's crazy. It is utterly crazy. And, secretly, I don't want this to be the end for Pokemon Go. I don't want the interest to plummet from here, because I'm having far too much fun finding these stupid, ridiculous stories. Case in point, a couple were arrested after allegedly, I can't even say the word right because this is so ridiculous, after allegedly abandoning their 2-year-old kid to go out and play Pokemon Go. Who the fuck does that? Who the fuck? Oh, jeez. You know what? End it all. Big giant meteor. Smash into the earth right now. I'd stop the world. I want to get off. I'm done. Pretty simple. Just friggin' done. But anyway, this has been the Icarus Report. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to my rambling rants. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments below. And feel free to share this video if you think others will find it interesting. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.